There has been a Blake Baggett sighting, and with that, the speculation has begun. Hey, welcome back to Vital MX. I'm your host, Michael Lindsay, and as always, any of our news break or rumor mill features are brought to you by our fine friends at Yoshimura R&D of America. Check them out at yoshimura-rd.com. Yes, Blake Baggett, the El Chupacabra, made his return to the motocross track on a dirt bike himself. He was spotted this last weekend out of Fox Raceway, which of course is one of his local stomping grounds as he was an amateur into his early pro years here in Southern California. This is a little bit unusual because, we've seen Blake floating around. His son Breaker has gone into racing with Stay6, PW50s, getting close, I think, to maybe KTM 50s now, kind of around that realm. That's about where his son's getting. So he's been a little bit made at. He's been popping up here at tracks, but not himself riding. In fact, the last time we saw himself on a bike was over 1,200 days ago. That was towards the tail end of the 2020 AMA Pro Motocross Championship. I believe the last round he raced was Thunder Valley, which would have been round 8 of 9 due to a condensed COVID schedule that we faced that year. Very weird. We were racing in Thunder Valley in October. Again, I forget how weird 2020 was for a racing year when you go back and look at the rounds and the results and all that. Either way, that was the last time we saw Blake Baggett racing professionally. And Blake himself, of course, is a bit of a mystery wrapped in enigma. Always liked Blake, but he's very weird, how he carries his interviews, lets out information, etc. Never really had an official "I'm retired." Towards the end of that 2020 season, he was dealing with legal proceedings with the now defunct Butler Brothers racing team, which he raced with at the time under the guise of Rocky Mountain ATV KTM. The team was also known as the BTO Sports Team before that. Of course, with any of those types of legal deals, look, it's all been settled, but we'll never know the full final story because that's all lock and key, in a sense of folders and wrapped up in courts to where it sounds like it's not really legally allowed to be talked about. Either way, it all finally got settled. But between that, the numerous injuries that Blake had to basically his wrist, his thumb, things were being debilitating to his racing that clearly were affecting his results for somebody, especially outdoors, that clearly had the skills to pay the bills and win. Blake stepped away from racing. Understandable. He ended up moving from Florida back to Southern California to work with his father, Tom Baggett, on steel company. I believe it's called Canyon Steel Fabricators. So he's been super busy with that, 9-to-5ing it, helping grow that company. Like I said, we've seen him back at the track with his son, but this weekend he was spotted on a dirt bike himself. And what was interesting is that situation, being on the bike and the people around him, has instantly gone the rumor mill going. Because he showed up in all brand new Fox gear, new Oakley goggles. He was a Fox and Oakley guy as an amateur, so returning those relationships. But on a new Rockstar Husqvarna FC450, along with a factory mechanic in tow with Jared Warwick, who currently wrenches for Christian Craig on the team, and J.R. Boyd, who is a factory WP suspension technician and used to be Blake Baggett's crew chief back at Rocky Mountain KTM. They brought him out a prep bike to the track. Some clips were posted. People are instantly going nuts because Christian Craig has had to have further, of course, elbow surgeries. There's question marks of his return, what his future status is, even with the team, being that 2024 is the end of his current 2-year deal with that team. And the results, of course, have not been good across those 2 years, not what him himself or the team or what people have expected him. So again, people start firing up the rumor mill. Is Blake making a return less than 50 days from the pro motocross scene? Well, couple things to point out. One, yes, Jared Warwick is Christian Craig's mechanic on the team, prepped the bike, brought out. That if you look very carefully, that is basically a box stock Husqvarna FC450 with Rockstar Edition graphics on it. Doesn't even have the slip-on pipe, but just an overall clean stock unit they brought out from the ride. And the WP suspension technician we mentioned, Jared Boyd's his buddy, basically. JR is actually not the suspension tech for the Husky team. He's the suspension tech for the TLD team. The Husky team's technician is Hunter Falk, who used to be the TLD technician and got moved to Husky this year. Kind of funny how some of that stuff works out. So we reached out to the team manager of the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna team, that is Nathan Ramsey, because our question, of course, was like, look, people are going nuts with this. We believe it's just a retired guy enjoying retired life and getting to be a weekend warrior, but please, can you provide us a statement? So here is what Mr. Ramsey had to say. Blake is a good friend to several of us here at Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing Team, so we told him that when he gets the itch to ride again, let us know and we will make it happen. He finally got the itch, so we sent him out on a Rockstar Edition FC 450 Husqvarna. He had a blast, and I think it's pretty clear he still knows how to ride. I believe we all miss seeing Blake race, so it was great to put him back on a bike for the first time since he retired. Hopefully, we see it way more often. Yes, that's a little bit vague if you want to read between the lines. There is no part of the statement that states that he would not go racing for any reason, but again, for us, there's nothing that really immediately points to him going racing. Could somebody like Blake do it? Of course, but it seems very far-fetched that somebody who's been away from a motocross track for over 1,200 days, has a family, is building a successful business with his father, who really doesn't have anything to prove. Blake, again, has the skills to pay the bills. He was successful. He won a title for outdoors. Like, everybody knows Blake can do it. Would you come back with less than 50 days of prep against the current 450 field to prove what exactly? The only way I see it happen is just that personal want, itch, and need. Again, Blake is kind of a mystery wrapped in an enigma as a person. I will never say never against what Blake might do, but I would really have to lean towards this just being a dude enjoying riding his dirt bike. Maybe it turns into more down the road. I hope we see him lining up maybe for some local races. Who knows? Maybe a comeback comes in down the road. I would be extremely shocked to see him make it after, listen, again, 50 days of prep after 1,200 days off. However, if he did so, it would be an absolutely amazing story to follow. So, of course, as usually ask at the end of these, let's hear your comments down below. What are your thoughts on this? Are you excited to see Blake back? Mention your favorite Blake Baggett racing moment. I'm sure a lot of people are going to reference Freestone of him jumping off the wall into the 12-pack, something that even James Stewart didn't want to do that day. Either way, again, it's good to see Blake back to racing. If you like our content, if you like our news breaks, bike tests, etc., make sure you give us a like, subscribe, and follow. And remember, we do have a website, vitalmx.com. Check it out.